One. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me in the co-host seats, as always, is our good friends Angela Rose
Hello.
and Darren Starling.
Konbanwa.
Tonight, we want to remind everybody that we are brought to you by our proud sponsors, Home Circle Media, for the latest and greatest in anime gear. Everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books and puzzles. Check out homecirclemedia.com today, or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, commission, and cosplay needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're also brought to you by Darren.
Wow, been a while since you've done that one.
Sorry, I keep forgetting, but half the time you're asleep by the time I remember.
At the end of the show, really?
It happens.
You can always cut in with them, too.
It's okay. I don't think enough of our viewers are in the area for me to be broadcasting my landscape business in the first place.
That's okay.
If you're from the Raleigh, but seriously, if you're from the Raleigh area, please hit me up for any landscape services you need. If I don't know how to do it, I know people that do.
So look for Triple S Lawn Care
on Facebook.
Yep, because none of my trucks are labeled. You will just see me with a bunch of orange on my trailer.
But we are excited tonight. No guests, so we're kind of going back old school. No guests tonight. We wanted to have an open chat night because we haven't done this in a while. And part of the reason I thought it'd be fun to just be able to BS with everybody is there's been so much news in the anime world. We've had so much stuff going on. And man, we're near the end of 2022, and what a wild ride this year has been.
Indeed. Not anime related, but geek pop culture related. I meant to ask this before we went live, but did you guys hear the celebrity news that everyone's talking about?
Yes, we lost one of the Power Rangers.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was actually I don't know if he was here this year, but I'm pretty sure he's been to Raleigh SuperCon several times here in the past couple of years. Because there were several Rangers here, if I remember correctly.
So that was very sad news. I did see that when I was scrolling through TikTok earlier. But for those who don't know, Jason David Frank passed away today. Very sad news. I know a lot of people who are huge Power Rangers fans. And
same. That was about half my Facebook feed today.
So it's very sad news. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends, and hopefully they'll be able to cope with the tragedy that has bestowed the acting world, not just voice acting world, but the acting world and the geek culture world. And he was a regular at cons all throughout the country, from what I've heard. I don't remember if I've seen him up this way, but then again, I can't make every con that comes to the New England area.
I know he was at one point because friends of mine have met him. And from what I have seen on social media, he was just generally a really good guy and really good to his fans.
So definitely thoughts and prayers go out to him. Also, I think, Darren, you had shared news in our Facebook group chat that one of the voice actresses was getting ready to retire at the end of the year.
Yes, the Japanese voice actress for Ilulu and Dragon Maid is stepping away from voice acting at the end of the year.
Tomomi Miniuchi?
Hold on, let me see if I can help you with this. Tomomi, yeah, Mineuchi.
Mineuchi.
Mm-hmm.
is going to retire from voice acting on December 31st, according to the article from Anime News Network that Darren shared with us. So um, I know that we had Christy Rothrock on the show recently, and she talked about how cool it would be to be able to meet the Japanese voice of some of the characters that she's voiced. Um, I don't know if that means she will no longer be doing any conventions or anything like that, but that would be neat if we could see them at a con together. It also means if they do any more Dragon Maid, they need to find another voice for Lulu in the Japanese.
And if I'm not mistaken, someone was in the comments was saying something about an OVA for Dragon Maid, and that I would say, based on what we've seen, there's a very good chance for another season.
I would not be opposed to another season. I'm still I know we have stuff we're all watching this season, but I'm like getting stoked for April when the spring anime season starts because there are so many shows that are coming out then. I'm looking so far ahead.
Whereas one of the ones I've been looking forward to has been delayed multiple times and is debuting winter next season.
Oh, Fury?
Yes.
I was about to say that's one all three of us can agree on.
On that note, last year I did a pre-order after we had Megan Shipman on the show, and she told me about a syrup plushie. I just got the email today that I needed to update my payment settings over a year later because the card that I had put in for the pre-order no longer works. It expired in the last year. I wonder why. But apparently it has been shipped. I got a shipping number, and it is on its way. So I will maybe in the next couple of weeks, month, hopefully before the end of the year, I will have a syrup plushie to show off.
And what are the dimensions on this thing again?
I don't even remember because, like I said, it was a year ago. It got to the point where I'm like, I don't even know if we're ever going to get it, so I'm not even going to worry. And then when they tried to take payment, at least they didn't take the payment and then never ship it. It was a pre-order, and I guess they kept having issues with having stock, from what I've heard.
Well, with everything going on in the world nowadays and the number of things on back order, I don't question much anymore.
Same.
Because getting a new piece of equipment right now, the model I want is at least a 2-year wait.
And is that because the parts are coming from a part of? Is that because of parts or because of electronics?
It's a combination. They have the steel, so they have the frames assembled. It's getting the engines, really.
So the syrup plushie is about 12 inches tall.
Okay.
That's adorable.
Aww.
And
for anime merchandise, I've actually been looking around. I didn't buy any new pillow covers last year, and I got the email from the site I use that Black Friday sales rolling around, and that's generally when I purchase. And I realized, oh, I haven't looked at the site in forever. Which girls do I even want, or which characters would I even want?
Marin and Ymir.
The only issue I take with a lot of these is if it's like fan art and it's been altered to not the style of the anime, I tend not to purchase them.
Understandable. I won't lie. There's some, buying these anime mystery boxes and stuff, loot boxes, when you get the shirts, sometimes the artwork on there, it's fan art that they use, and it's like, I probably wouldn't have bought it if I saw it in a store. It's like some of the stuff is cool to have, but it's nothing that I probably would have bought.
So today, in today's adventure, there's an Asian food mart in Brookline that we went to, and there's literally a section of just anime merch. However, it is decidedly overpriced.
That reminds me, I'm almost curious to go to the Grand Asian Market near where I had some equipment stolen. But I'd almost be willing to go in there to see if they have any anime related stuff there. I know they got like Japanese style snacks and whatnot in there. Because of my friends that go there, but I wonder if they've changed up anything in there to include anime related stuff considering how popular it's gotten in the past few years.
And hello, Ross. Sorry that we just now seeing the message. Uh, we're doing pretty good. I know it's a sad day. We did touch on that a little bit ago about the passing of one of the Power Rangers. To be honest, I never got into the Power Rangers, never watched it. So it's
Same.
not hitting me as much as it's hitting, I know, so many other people.
Same. That's
But
one
that
of
doesn't
those.
mean it's not sad.
It was never my thing, but I absolutely get and respect its place in that geek pop culture.
Same here.
In fact, one of my friends who's been a guest on the show, Devira, was a huge Power Rangers fan, and he actually had a Power Rangers like original DVD that he had eventually got signed by the entire cast.
Mm.
Impressive.
That's dedication right there.
Actually, using that as a segue, did you see the Anime Boston updates, Doug?
Anime Boston updates for they
The
want updated COVID shots and everything, and
the more interesting stuff, like they're no longer doing the free voice actor autographs.
I can understand that. In all honesty, with when we had Sean Chiplock on the show and he broke the numbers down to levels that we did not expect him to go to, I will never have an issue paying for a voice actor's autograph. Other
I
celebrities maybe because they overcharge, but the way that the voice acting world is, I have no issues paying
and
reasonably priced.
I will say this on the one hand, I'm sorry I opened that can of worms. I was very much expecting cliche
Generalized.
a very cliche answer, but not really an answer. Change the subject. Let's move on. I did not expect what we got from that, and for anyone who missed that, the audio version is up on most sites where you can listen to podcasts. If
Or you
it's
can go back and check out the Sean Chiplock show and see
on
the video.
YouTube, if it's not up there, it should be real soon. I don't know if I got that far.
I'd say what we thought was going to be like a 1 minute answer turned into like a 25 minute rant.
And actually, with some very
Informative
numbers.
and from a very real perspective, from a very personal perspective.
I wasn't expecting him to go into as far as this is what I pay for mortgage.
Yeah,
And
that
it's like, wow. I never want to live in California because it's, oh my God, I'm not going to complain too much about the prices out here after hearing that. And also, I have gained a shit ton of respect for Sean Chiplock as a person, not just a voice actor, for voluntarily giving us information on a topic that has been out there for a long time. And you've heard so many people dance around the subject because of whether it be NDAs, whether it be whatever. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to disclose information. The fact he went into detail,
And even if he had simply said, "I'm not comfortable answering that," that would have been fine. That would have
yeah,
been okay, moving on.
we are not
That,
a pressure type talk show.
Nope.
We ask a question, as we've had happen many a times. A simple, I can't talk about that, NDAs. We move on to the next question, and we keep it light and fun. And he really went into some serious talk there, and I think that's the fun part of doing a live improv show like this.
you
Is
never
we
know what
get
you're gonna get.
Yeah. And that's just one little blip on the adventure that has been this year for Anime-Zing Radio.
And we are not going to be doing a live show next Sunday because I will be traveling back from Massachusetts after spending Thanksgiving with the younger of my two older sisters for the first time since 2018. So I want to make sure I spend time with her and her family. And so we're not going to be doing a live show next Sunday. I have a tentative guest for December 4th. I'm still waiting to hear back to make sure that everything is confirmed for that, or if they need to move it. Also, still working on trying to find a guest for our last show of the year, December 18th. I've sent out a couple of emails, but knowing voice actors are busy, I have not heard back from anybody yet. Had a couple other people in mind, but one of them recently just got married, so I didn't want to reach out to them just because he just got married, have time to settle in on a whole same but new lifestyle.
AKA life, the universe, everything.
And I hope, Ross, you're having a good weekend. It has been a crazy weekend. We are leading up to Thanksgiving here in the U.S. And I know, and the reason I specify that is with us being on an audio site now, on multiple podcasting sites, we have listeners all over the world. In places that I didn't even know knew about anime.
Yes.
So hopefully they have been enjoying the content that we provide. And a big thank you so much to everybody who tunes in, whether it's live when we're here on Sunday nights on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or whether you're listening to us on one of the many streaming platforms where you can find Anime-Zing Radio. We really, really do appreciate it. And we thank you for all the support. And we have busted our asses for 2022 to try to grow the show, especially since moving to YouTube. We've hit some great milestones. I've hit every goal. I've hit or exceeded every goal for the show that I wanted to do, except 500 subscribers. But we hit 200. We're close to 250. So that's still not a bad thing. And we only tabled at 5 cons. So. And looking ahead at 2023, it's going to be another busy year with conventions, and I want to try to table more. I'm almost at the point where I don't want to go to a con just as an attendee.
I think I'll be honest, I think I've reached the point where I think unless I had the capabilities, which I don't think is going to happen given the timing of it, unless I had the ability to go to Gen Con Indy as an attendee, I probably won't do a convention unless it's PAX where I'm working for the convention, or we have a table, or we're press, or a gaming convention where I'm DMing D&D, things of that nature.
And speaking of DMing, I recently saw what convention was it? Somebody
Carnage.
Somebody was just put a post up. I think it might have been Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo that they have enlarged the amount of space that they have, and they are incorporating a huge gaming area, including bringing in multiple DMs.
Ooh. Because I know Carnage Con, one of the D&D groups that I am a part of, they were looking for volunteers to DM for Carnage, and I was all set to do so. And then I looked at the dates and realized that's the weekend I come back from Europe. So needless to say, I didn't do it.
And I'm just going back through my emails, and yes, it was Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo, which we had a table at last year. We are going to have a table at again this year. I will get you those
Actually,
dates.
that might be a fun if we get a table next year. And then what we do is we basically do, instead of live streaming from the table, get permission to live stream you and me playing D&D.
So that is going to be April 23rd and 24th.
How is that for an adventure?
That would be an interesting adventure.
Because I know you don't know what you're doing with D&D, and that makes it funny.
Same here.
Oh, that was this year's event. They don't have, do they have the new dates?
But either way.
Sorry, the dates I gave were for 2022. I'm looking to see April 29th and 30th for Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy.
Actually, now, let me see. Let me see if that's... Let me check the list. That is the weekend in, you said 29 and 30?
Yep.
Of April? That is the week after Wicked Comic-Con.
Yep. I don't know if I'm making it to Wicked this next year or not. I may try to apply for press, but it was fun. But they're in a new location this year. They've grown.
Well,
they're going to be at the Heinz.
Interesting. Well, as we're already making our list for conventions next year, and if
trying to con Darren into coming up to one of them.
If there is a convention that you know of that you want to see us at, give us location, dates, and a place where we can find more information, and we'll see what we can do. If not for 2023, it gives us new conventions to look into for beyond.
Also, if you would like to see if they could bring us in as a guest, we would absolutely love that. Suggest us to your local conventions. We would be happy to work with any convention. We do offer things that most podcasters do not. So we do have some special things that we do with AZR that a lot of other broadcasters, podcasters don't do when they're at events. It's not uncommon to see interviews. It is uncommon to see live streams during the con, which we have received a ton of positive feedback, not just from conventions, but from the attendees who love the interaction. So, and I know, Ange, you experienced that firsthand at PucciCon in Jersey, where people remembered us from the Pennsylvania convention.
Yep. And I did figure out what the problems... I did figure out why, when I was trying to join the live stream from PAX East, there were multiple issues, but one of them is my phone and StreamYard did not want to cooperate.
Yep.
And the BCEC just has crap signal to begin with.
Same thing with Anime. They had really, the hotel had really crappy service. So I had to do some of the live streaming from Anime using my phone and hotspot. The fact that I had forgotten my camera in the wife's camera bag, that was 3 hours the opposite direction. Because of AAC and the person that was helping her vend at AAC, she had forgotten the camera bag in their car, and I thought the camera was in the box in the laptop bag, and I was wrong. So we made do.
You know what? Lessons learned.
And also being able to walk around with the phone and stream that way, I was able to showcase with permission all of the vendors and artists in Artist Alley and the vendors hall at Anime, and they were very talking with them afterwards. They were all very appreciative being able to promote themselves through our channel. And also, they were very appreciative of the fact that we asked permission, which a lot of people don't. If you go to cons, if you see something you like or something you think a friend would like, ask permission from the artist before you take any photos. A, it's respectful. B, sometimes they don't want their artwork or themselves don't want to appear in a photo or video. So please be respectful of all the artists, vendors, cosplayers, everybody at the convention.
It's a lot of artists will in fact be very positive and be like, yeah, sure, no problem. Some will be like, please don't post it publicly on social media without giving me credit for it, which more than reasonable. And some people are just camera shy and don't want to be on camera. I've experienced all of the above over the years.
So again, big thank you. And Ross is poking fun at me because it's going into Black Friday week. Doug Swall is probably going to hurt his heart starting next week because everything, and I do mean everything, will be low price and on sale at Right Stuff for their holiday sale. So be smart on your wallet.
That's generally me that cries because of that. So,
If I'm being
however,
honest, oh, go ahead, Darren.
I haven't made a purchase off of Right Stuff for Black Friday or during their 25 days of Christmas in quite a while.
And I don't think I've ever bought anything off of Right Stuff Anime, if I'm being honest.
See, yeah, I just don't do the collectible stuff. I know, I understand.
I don't collect figures.
About to say before Dakimakura was kind of my thing. I did a lot of Blu-rays. I got a crap ton of Blu-rays.
Yep. Yeah, any kind of collectible stuff like that is all stuff other people have given me over the years.
Like blankets.
Like blankets, like I have a couple of the Ruby blind box figures kicking around. I have on the bookcase next to me is the Dragon Egg from the Game of Thrones collectible box set for season 1, etc., etc.
That reminds me, to complete my limited edition set, I need the 4th season of Food Wars.
Yeah, you'll need the 4th season and the 5th season.
That's right. There was a 5th season.
Yeah.
I got halfway through the 5th season installed on it for some reason.
Probably because sleep
Life
was more
Universe and
important.
everything. But yeah, I to be honest, going into this holiday season, I have a lot of travel plans, so I am not really going to have the money to buy any of the fun anime stuff like I would like to. The responsible adult in me says going and visiting family for the holidays is more important than buying another anime figure. So I will probably steer clear of a lot of the anime stores and things until 2023.
HH is jumping in and commenting that they have complete series DVD collections. Many are, I believe it's supposed to be many, are original US releases from the early 2000s.
Collectibles. Very nice.
Indeed, very nice.
Now, if only you had the VHS ones, then you might actually have something collectible there.
I do not, but a friend of mine has a VHS box set. I don't know if they still have it, but they have a VHS box set of El Hazard.
Wow.
I
don't have any VHS. I'd say probably the coolest collectible thing I have that's older school is I have an anime cell of Sango from Inuyasha.
I have a box set I use air quotes for a reason, of Serial Experiments Lane. However, I'm very much aware it's literally just s it's a store it's from a store that doesn't exist, a local store that no longer exists, and basically they had the 4 DVD cases and they had originally got them all separate and shrink wrapped them together and sold it as a box set.
Um, is it bad that quite a bit of my old school anime stuff was back during the days where you had to mark your VHS tapes and hope and pray your family member wouldn't record over them?
We have a few of those where I where somebody accidentally recorded over somebody else's content.
And back in the day, back before copyright laws were really heavily enforced, it just felt normal to copy something, watch it later, and then when you were done with it, just record it over with something different.
Yeah,
And it's like,
my
who
mom
cares?
my mom would every week for years would set up the VCR to record ER,
My mom would do the same with
and then and then and then every
uh,
weekend mom and I would watch it. And when I started college, I came home during a break, and we basically ended up watching half a season out of order because of what else was on the VHS tape.
ah, not the same. I think my mom would always have me set it up for her for either Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, Price is Right, or The Young and the Restless.
For me, it was NASCAR races because I worked jobs where I would work Sundays, and so I would record. I would set the VCR for the extended long play, record up to 6 hours, and start just set the timer. Okay, the race is supposed to start at this time. Let it go for 6 hours, or the race is done before the end of the 6 hours. You just stop it if you're home. And I had almost complete seasons from like 1992 into early 2000s on VHS.
Wow.
And that includes Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s death at Daytona on tape. I had Rodney Orr, who was a NASCAR driver who was killed at Watkins Glen. I had that race on VHS.
Wow.
So I had some good races, going back into the good old days of, before they
Uh,
had this whole playoff system and stuff. Although that Ross Chastain move that he pulled getting into the finals was unbelievable.
God. Doug, I'm gonna segue from that. Did you ever see the Disney movie Cars?
Yes.
yes.
I was gonna say I feel like growing up watching NASCAR, you would appreciate that one specifically because of all of the nods to specific people.
Oh yeah, and they even had NASCAR drivers voice act in it, including Darren
Yep.
Waltrip as one of the announcers. And
Yep.
Cars 2, they actually brought in Formula One superstar Michael Schumacher to voice a car.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't forget about Mater, Larry
Uh,
the Cable Guy.
Voiced by Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah. As I can't remember if I don't think I watched Cars 3. I don't think I watched Cars 3, and I know
I
they're
have
coming
not.
up with they're also coming out with another edition where they take a Lightning and Mater take a road trip.
So that sounds like it'd be a Cars OVA.
Oh, God.
I know, I will say one thing. Someone bought me the Cars game for the Xbox 360, and I grinded the crap out of pretty much everything in that game. I found every trail, every hidden everything, and oh my gosh, I used to spend hours on that. And there were some days I couldn't do anything because I didn't have a memory stick or a hard drive. So I would play the game, get to a certain point, and then I had no ability to save the game, and I would have to start over with however much time I had the following day and try and get further than what I did the previous day. And also on that note, that was my original 360. I got the first edition Xbox 360. Ironically, doing the one thing in elementary school that most kids don't participate in because the prizes are gimmicky. You know, when the school kids come around, they have their little fundraisers, so you get the catalog, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did those two.
Yep. Basically that year, unbeknownst to me, the top two prizes, the one who sold the most items got the 360. The one who raised the most money got like a high quality bicycle. And unbeknownst to me, I had the most number of items sold and I got 360.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was actually really nice. And it took me, I think I got the Red Ring of Death like maybe 3 years ago. So that original 360 lasted almost 12, 13 years before finally giving me the red ring. I'd say
That's
that was a pretty good run.
that's impressive. Now my Xbox 360, uh, it was a pre-order launch. My buddy pre-ordered it, left it in my living room because he was basically staying on my couch every other weekend. And then when he moved back to Mass from Vermont, it was shared in the living room, and then it red ringed, and he basically it was still under warranty, so it was packed up, shipped out. But while we were waiting for the replacement, he basically said "fuck this" and bought a new one. So when the old one came back, he said, "Yeah, you just keep it." So I still have it. It hasn't been plugged. It's in the past 5 years. It's been turned on, I think, once for my friends to play Halo during a
Mm.
house party because somebody was like, "Ooh, you have an Xbox 360 and all the Halo games," and the guys decided they were gonna do Halo.
Um, and Ross, just to reply to your comment, you're thinking of Cars 2, not Cars 3. Cars 3 was that new generation racing.
That's the comment that Darren is referring to.
Yeah, the Cars 3 was the new generation racing vehicles were introduced. Cars 2 was the spy one.
And I was just looking back through the year that was 2022 with guests for the show and stuff, and my God, have we had a crazy year of guests.
The back end of that, I'd say, belongs to Genshin Impact.
It does belong to Genshin Impact. We have had a lot of Genshin voice actors on, partially because that has been the thing that has been mainstream at conventions since the summertime.
Um,
And everywhere
speaking
you
of
go, they promote Genshin Impact voice actors.
speaking of which, Giga put out a video on his secondary channel about Genshin like literally a couple hours ago.
I did see he posted something about finding the best girl in Genshin, but I have not had a chance to watch it.
I
Doug,
watched part of it.
Did you guys watch the Trash Taste special?
I watched part of it. The one I'm assuming you're referring to driving across Japan.
Yeah, we finished it right before I jumped into the show.
I watched part of it. I think I fell asleep during part of it, so I'm not sure exactly where I left off, but I remember them having to ride horses and shoot arrows, which was hysterical.
Yep.
What is
I
this? The Amazing Race goes trash taste?
Actually, you're not wrong. The difference is for each challenge, the loser gets a punishment.
Or in the case of one of them, the two losers got a punishment of having to stay at a manga hotel, while the winner, no spoilers on this, got to stay at a 5-star hotel.
That wasn't, by our standards, a 5-star
Um,
hotel.
so that was it was interesting from what I saw of it. I know I need to get back and finish it. Um,
All I'm gonna say. Nope. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
yeah, don't. We're not gonna spoil anything. All I'll say is it was only supposed to be one person staying at the manga hotel, and the person who finished second kind of got screwed.
Yep.
But it was hysterical. Made for good content.
And yeah, no.
I won't lie. I would love to do that. I would love to stay at a manga hotel.
I
I
would
think that would be fun.
Okay.
kind of on an unrelated note, did anyone see Mr. Beast's video from staying in the cheapest hotel in the world all the way up to one of the more expensive ones?
No.
No.
Basically, the cheapest hotel in the world, I think, was in India, where it was literally $1 to stay the night, and all you got was basically the equivalent of a tatami mat or just a rug, and there's no walls, rooms, or anything. You're literally just sleeping on the floor on a rug in the middle of whoever the hell else is staying at the hotel. But hey, $1 a night.
And
Ross.
Ross,
what
what
is
exactly is a manga hotel?
Oh, Ross, you watched anime and you haven't seen a manga hotel like before?
a manga hotel? Is basically what it sounds like. It is a building, a hotel where you can go and rent a cube, which has a mattress in it, well, kind of like a tatami mattress type thing. Um, there is, I think, computer in there, or TV monitor, and things like that. Um, but
It's like those
you have
net
free reign to all this manga.
it's like those net cafes they always talk about in Japan, only it has a lot of manga surrounding you as well.
And it is like complete volumes, and it's free for you to use with purchase of the room.
And
You can spend the entire time reading all the series you want, as long as
I
you can do
will
it in that time
say
frame.
that the one they featured for this specific thing we were referencing had the complete collection of, I believe it was Bleach and Naruto.
I
Wow.
think it was both,
Yes, I said
because they
I
had
believe it was two of the big long running ones. I believe those were the two. It might have been one. No, it wasn't One Piece.
It wasn't Dragon Ball, was it?
No. I believe it was Bleach and Naruto.
They
But
also have shower rooms, which you can pay to take a 15-minute shower. They have food. Some of the food and drink is complimentary. Some of it you have to pay if you want something a little bit better than snacky stuff.
but
But I think Joey the Anime Man has done like 3 videos staying at manga hotels, and usually it's like 24 hours when he stays there. And he said it's very relaxing. You're kind of like in your own little world, locked away from everybody and everything, and it can it can either a drive you nuts because of the silence, or completely rejuvenate you, and like I said, be very relaxing. I don't know which end of the spectrum I would fall on, but just staying in one I think would be fun, and I think they're cheaper than some of the hotels, the regular
Yeah.
hotels in Japan.
I will say that I will say that it's Japan is interesting with some of the things like that, with how much things cost versus similar but different. Like, we've looked into some of the more interesting things, and to stay overnight at a Love Hotel was actually cheaper than some of the other hotels, regular hotels.
Of course, because well, I have
They have multiple different rates, including by, I think it was an hour rate, like a 3-hour rate, a 6-hour rate, and an overnight. If I
that would make a
remember
lot of
correctly
sense.
from a couple of the videos that I've seen YouTubers do.
I will say that varies location to location.
But kind of similar to the times, and of course money will vary from location to location, but they all have it broken down into segments.
Yep.
But what is Darren sending now?
God.
One of those cringe anime.
Yep.
Yep. Himoto Umachar
Himoto Umaru-chan.
R.
Second season, basically.
But I got sidetracked. We got talking about manga hotels and love hotels. Like, crap, where was my mind before this?
We've been all over the place, but what else is new?
Oh, that's right. I was looking back at the guests. We started the year off with a cosplayer, which you said was one of the most listened to shows on the podcast site when we had Lainey Maloney on back in January.
Yep.
And then we had our Pokemon special, which our Pokemon expert was sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
We had January 30th, we were supposed to have Rusty on the show. I think that was when he had a storm hit Pennsylvania and couldn't make it.
If you look at what I titled that one on the podcast, it's AZR presents technical difficulties.
That could be anything from our Blog Talk Radio days or
And
Hazy Radio days, for that
in
matter.
the description, it does say we were supposed to be joined by Rusty Gilligan, but technical difficulties ensued.
And then we had Jason Moulton on, followed by Sean Hainsworth. Then in February we had comparing different conventions, which our gaming convention expert was sick.
Debilitating migraines. I get them from time to time.
February 20th we had on Brianna Roberts. The 26th we had Ben Ackley from Ackley Attack TV join us. Danny Chambers, Aaron Campbell. We did a cosplayer roundtable. Jeff Fulb from Vermont Gatherings joined us in March as a preview to the Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo, which we did earlier this year. Then we had back-to-back big shows. We had Bang Zoom Entertainment, which was a fantastic show. Again, it still surprises me that Eric Sherman and Mami Okada take the time out to join us, and they've done it a couple of times. A ton of respect to the people who work on the anime, not just the voice actors, but the technical side of things and stuff. It's great that a company like Bang Zoom wants to take the time to come on our show and talk about the industry and what it's like behind the scenes. And I know, Angela, you weren't with us. You only joined us this year.
Yep.
And what was it like for you to be able to get into the swing of things, and next thing you know, you're talking to voice actors, recording studios, all kinds of people?
Like I said, it's been an adventure. Thank you, HH. Bang Zoom was one of their favorites. For me, it's just been one heck of an adventure. Because I did not really 100% know what I was getting into at the start. And then just kind of taking a hold and watching everything grow exponentially was huge. I mean, Bang Zoom was a big one. talking, like being able to sit there and talk to Danny Chambers about being a female in the gaming circles at a time when that was not a very common thing. That was actually just pretty awesome.
And you discovered a lot of voice actors are into the D&D and the tabletop gaming world.
Yep.
Which, as you've made the point, and we've talked about in the show, how there is a lot of crossover between the anime and tabletop world.
Anime, video games, tabletop. There's a lot of overlap, and there's a lot of pick your fandom, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, I know people who really enjoy D&D but refuse to watch anime.
And then you show them some of the RPG style animes, and they get hooked.
Or vice versa, people who I know who have been playing video games their entire lives but have never tried pen and paper RPG style games.
Until this year.
Yep.
April 3rd, we had our 8-year anniversary show, which, you know, it still blows my mind. I know a lot of people out there who are supportive and also kind of amazed that we're still going.
Yep. And Ross, I'm sorry, Ross. Tabletop is where you play card games sitting at a table the whole time, right? That's one way. Tabletop is kind of a blanket term for anything being played at a physical table.
Whether you're using dice for role-playing games, whether you're playing Monopoly or a board game or card games,
or
anything
go fish for simplicity's sake.
So anything that you are sitting at a table to play, as opposed to a video game or anime or things that way, is considered tabletop. PAX Unplugged, which you have coming up, is focused on strictly tabletop gaming, isn't it?
It is. But that being said, there's so many different facets that you could literally spend all of your time in the room for painting miniatures and never do anything else. And I know people who have done that. There's a section for D&D and other role-playing games. I believe I tried to sell Jay Moores on that when we did Faye.
You did talk to him about it. I don't know if he's going to be going or not.
And then there's a giant room. There's an area for like Magic the Gathering or other card games of that nature. There's
Pokemon,
Yu-Gi-Oh. There's
those were my two right there.
There's an area for there's a board game library where you could literally just go pick up a board game, go find a table and people to play that board game with, and do that. Like, and then there's all the indie stuff, or people who are board game developers bringing their half-finished demos for people to try out and give feedback.
On that note, if you want to learn about various games that the anime actually very interesting that they delved into this, go watch A Sister's All You Need, just for the fact that the games that they got into were actually quite interesting.
And After School Dice Club is another one that delves in tabletop gaming, and one of the characters actually goes through the process of starting to design her own board game, tabletop game. I don't know, Ange, if you've seen or heard of either of those, but
you've mentioned After School Dice Club before, Darren. I don't know if you've mentioned that one. A Sister Is All You Need before.
It's a little weird.
About to say, if you can get past the first 3 minutes of the first episode, then you can get through the series.
Well,
literally, the first.
She is now afraid.
Nope. You've heard my critique from episode 1 of Overlord.
Well, let me just say, the first 3 minutes of that anime will make you literally question why does anime even exist.
I've watched my share of those.
You
And you will
haven't
wonder if you're watching the right show.
pretty much. This one will leave you speechless, I guarantee it. But all in all, the show itself is actually very interesting because you have a light novel writer, you have another light novel writer that is has his show being turned into an anime, so you get to go through the process of that. You have an aspiring novelist, and you have someone who gets thrown into the mix that knows nothing about any of this and learns a lot just by hanging out with this group. Um,
And the way that
and
they come up with ideas for their books is by playing these creative games.
mhm.
And that actually makes sense. That's actually, but that is in fact a thing.
And
But
that's a good segue into another guest that we had back in May. We had HB Comics, which some of the comics that they have come up with, the ideas were derived from
they're D&D
D&D
games.
games.
Yes, Ross, I know what you mean.
I wasn't going to touch it. We also had Devira Kai on earlier this year to help celebrate Big Bucks Entertainment's 10-year anniversary. That is huge for them. He's been around the game show scene, putting on and hosting game shows at conventions for 10 years. And he does an amazing job. And everybody with Big Bucks Entertainment, they have some really amazing stuff that they display at the cons. If you're able to see them, whether it's at Anime Boston, if they get back to AAC, wherever that Big Bucks Entertainment is able to host these game shows, whether it's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Press Your Luck, uh, Deal or No Deal,
I was
you definitely want
disappointed
to check
we
that.
missed them at Anime Boston, but shenanigans happened.
Yeah, Anime Boston was nuts covering his press because it was an honor to finally be approved for press. It was a shit show for the sheer fact of I think it was 6 times press conferences got moved around or added, or one was added. One, 3 people moved to one, and times kept getting changed. Recording was an issue because video was not allowed for many of them. One of them did not want recording of any time, no video or audio. A lot of them did not want video. After the fact, we had to do some editing on one of them per request of the guest, which we were more than happy to oblige and do the editing after the fact.
And then there was one where there were certain topics they told us ahead of time you are not allowed to bring up X, Y, and Z.
Which everybody who was at that one avoided the topics, and the only time those topics were brought up was by said guest. And but man, it was amazing to not be press at Anime Boston, and also I had my first panel at Anime Boston, which was very nerve wracking. And our friend Rob, you were not much help. You know, a half hour before the panel, and he's like, "Wow, this room is huge. Are you nervous?" Yeah, the room probably fit like 500 people if it was full. I had no idea if anybody was going to be there because we were the first panel on Friday morning in like the far panel room. The fun part
So
was the fact that the panel after me was for our friends Hitaki and Sahara. So I got to say hi to them a little bit.
so I maintain we should just do a live panel where we get Darren in via live chat, and we just do a live show like this, just in panel room, and let people in the audience partake in the conversation.
Yeah, grill us, roast us, like basically turn us into the guests.
That would be a lot of fun. We would have to figure out timing on on it to work with everybody's schedule. To make sure that um, Darren is not working any of his 4 million hours that he works a week. Um, that Angela is not working or traveling or basically has the money to be able to make it to the convention. With the proper planning, we can make it work. We just need to figure out
That's what
who,
I'm
what, where,
saying.
when, and why.
We plan it accordingly.
I would almost want to try to do that at Anime Boston and request to do it later at night, even if it was in the same room that we had that panel at.
Honestly, if we could do it at Anime Boston, we could make it 18 plus and have it be like a late night panel.
That could actually be fun.
Yes, and contingent on my schedule this year, I think this coming year I may try to hire some people, or at the very least sub stuff out to my friend if I decide to travel. But contingent on that and a couple other things, I might try and make AB this year, considering it didn't happen in 2020.
Anime Boston, for the record, is Easter weekend. The first full weekend in April.
So if that helps, April 7th through 9th. So write that in your calendar. And Ross with the comedy comes in. Sorry, not sorry for this, but Darren, you can't be roasted because you're almost already dead on some streams because of hard work. So you can't be roasted because you're fried.
Ay. I thought you were gonna say I can't be roasted because I fall asleep before y'all can roast me about anything. I have no content to be roasted on.
Oh no, there's plenty of content to roast you on. It's usually just the snoring.
Or the fact
Do I really snore?
No.
I was just curious.
The isekai now you two can be roasted for isekai trash.
Yeah. I expect to be roasted for being isekai trash. I won't lie. There are some shows that are notably bad shows that are some of my go-to guilty pleasure animes just because I enjoy the show. May not be the best written, may not have the greatest characters, but man, I enjoy the show and I can't wait for season 2 of both of them.
I like the weird stuff, and I understand this. And apparently I like the underrated stuff as well.
I mean, I also would expect to get roasted for enjoying musical-based / idol animes, which we saw quite a few different music-based animes come out in 2022.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you make it to Anime Boston, Darren, that would be epic.
Well, like I said, the original plan was to, but
and then some little disease thing happened known as COVID that canceled 2020. And
yeah, see, my 2020 didn't start. My 2020 started with dealing with the aftermath of my car getting totaled.
My 2020 started with
because my car got totaled the week between Christmas and New Year's. I went to MAG, came back from MAG, only to find out that the insurance company fucked up, and I had to deal with that.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, that was the start of 2020, and then once it got resolved and I got a new to me car, it can't get any worse than this, right? Oh, how wrong I was. What are you guys curious about watching in January? If it actually debuts, Bill Fury is the top of my list.
Same.
My top two right now, by looking at the list for winter 2023, Fury and By the Grace of the Gods season 2. I
My
really enjoyed By the Grace of the Gods. I thought that was a really well done storyline. The character was fun. Yes, it's an isekai, and I know I'll get crap for that. But I did really enjoy By the Grace of the Gods.
there are several in this one. Fury definitely, Nagatoro definitely, Vinland Saga definitely.
There's
Um,
more. Is it
Demon.
wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
There's
Looking at this,
let's see.
Oh, Saria, Fruit of Evolution. Oh
Oh,
my God.
speaking of
looking,
which, Fruit of
looking.
Evolution has a OVA coming out this season.
Actually, looking at.
I-
Ooh,
Inspector
there's a there's a new Trigun project.
Tomo-chan is a girl. That's definitely up my.
But no, there's at a glance.
The Angel Next Door spoils me rotten.
At a glance, there's not a whole heck of a lot that I'm gonna be watching. So I might use that as a go back and watch all the things I said I was gonna watch, like get caught up on Demon Slayer, get caught up on Overlord.
Here's
Here's a
one.
surprise
Here,
for you, Darren. Farming Life in Another World. Is
season 2, or is this a different one?
this is a different one.
Wow. I'm about to say I got one for Angela.
What?
My life is Inukai-san's dog.
No.
The story follows the protagonist who wakes up one day transformed as Pochada, a pet dog of his cool and beautiful classmate Karen.
Like,
So you get to be the one from that like into Love Rue with Haruna?
Yep.
I
Haruna's dog.
mean, okay, there's down to scrolling down quite a bit. Outside of season 2 of Fury, Revenger actually looks interesting, and it's a samurai anime.
What about Trigun Stampede?
Trigun Stampede is also up there, cause Trigun.
Oh
Although,
Lord.
although Trigun the movie was bad.
I'm getting vibes here. There's a anime literally called Sugar Apple Fairy Tree, and I remember what happened when I watched Happy Sugar Life, and that was totally.
Ooh. There's also a new season of Way of the House Husband.
There
Mhm.
is a second season of D4DJ, which
Never heard of
we
that.
which we actually talked a little bit about last week because our guest Kelly Baskin is in that.
Wait a minute.
Oh, here's one for y'all. Spy Academy or Spy Classroom, excuse me.
Unaired footage included on the release of Evangelion 3.0.
Interesting.
It's all the way down under special, and
Uh,
it's Evangelion 3.0 parens minus 46H. I'm confused. I thought I've seen all of Evangelion.
mm,
What in the heck?
oh, well, here's one for the what the Oni Mai, I'm now your sister.
What in
That
the heck?
screams Darren all over it.
No, absolutely not. Read the synopsis.
I don't even know where that is.
Somewhere in the
It's
middle.
it's in the middle. It's by Studio Bind. Studio Bind has some good work, so.
Campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill. What the hell?
Yep. Oh wait. So Studio Bind, that was the studio that was specifically formed to do Jobless Reincarnation. Wow, why would they pick up something like this?
Okay, Spy Classroom is definitely a maybe.
About to say that one's definitely caught my eye. Let's see. Kubo won't let me be invisible. That one definitely looks like my type.
See,
Oh, the same studio that did Gamers.
see, Vinland Saga is one that I don't know. That's one of those. The first season, I've heard it's good, but I never got
It,
around to it.
it's not good. It's really good. Just saying.
And and I actually really enjoy the stuff that's based on like historical or other types of media.
So you're basically admitting you should go watch High School DxD because of all the content that's included, historical, mythical, and
No, that one prob's not.
I tried.
Like one of the more underrated ones that I actually enjoyed was Moriarty the Patriot, which I've talked about a little bit. Um,
I of shows that we're watching right now, I will say one show that I think that has been kind of underrated. I've seen some people talk about it, and I know we've touched on it on the show, is Reincarnated as a Sword. I like the fact that the story is not so much on the guy reincarnated as a sword as it is the growth of the little black cat girl that uses the sword.
but it's an isekai.
Yeah, it's an isekai, but it doesn't really feel like an isekai after episode one. It feels more fantasy. Uh,
I am skeptical of this.
it, ha-
Skeptical of what?
it has it very much has a fantasy feel to it, and I mean, yes, I'm isekai trash. I've enjoyed it. The main female character is adorable. She is definitely like protect, not no way waifu material. Way
Oh,
no, I'm not.
that reminds me. The other one I need to go back and finish is Banished from the Hero's Party because
Yes,
I actually did enjoy that one.
That is just a cute show.
that is a great show.
Because the week before we had Aaron Campbell on the first time,
I showed you that the first
you showed
episode of
me
that.
two of two episode ones, one of which was was I'll give you that it was well done. It was very much not for me. And the other one was Banished from the Hero's Party, and I absolutely enjoyed that.
And
You
Ross
know,
says Darren, romance anime up your alley should be there on your list called Endo and Kobayashi Live.
I will say the out of the two isekais that I watched knowingly, one of them I didn't know was an isekai until years later, and the other was so bad we only finished it because nobody wanted to say anything. Everyone thought somebody else in the house was enjoying it.
Um,
And that was Conception.
No, it was not. No, that was Full Dive.
I have not watched Full Dive. I did watch Eld Live, which was really, really weird. Hello, Sharka. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. We want to wish everybody out there a happy Thanksgiving week as we're leading up to the crazy week that is Thanksgiving, Black Friday. If you're traveling, please be safe out there.
And if you're one of those people that is not traveling and you don't have to be on the roads Good Friday, don't.
Good Friday.
Black Friday.
Black Friday. I knew what I meant. I'm tired.
And we're going to take a quick pause here for a word from Natsu.
Hey gang, this is Natsu Dragneon. You're listening to Anime-Zing Radio on the Haze.
I cut it short because
You about to say I haven't heard that in a long time.
I love the fact that I found all these old clips. I know, and you have the hard drive that has everything in one.
Yep, and I've
That
been
needs to
adding
be edited.
folders. I've been adding folders to it as I extract audio from YouTube and put stuff online. I'm organizing stuff. Yeah, Full Dive was ahead. It was bad.
HH says, "Hey, Full Dive is so terrible it's good, but yeah, it's pretty bad."
That season we were watching so much that basically was the one that we kept. No one wanted to be the one to admit to be
It
the
was
one to say,
crap.
yeah. And then at the end, and when we finally had that conversation, there were 2 episodes left, so we were like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna finish it at this point."
I will say that I am happy that you agree with me when it comes to Call of the Night that the artwork and the music is fantastic. I can
Oh,
understand if the storyline did not grab you,
the
but the
oh,
art and stuff is what sucked me in.
and that's I understand, and that's fair. No, for me, the writing has to be there in some capacity. But the art, I will say, the art was gorgeous. I understood everything you were saying about it. The music was spot on and fantastic. Just the story lost me already.
And you gotta love a band named Creepy Nuts.
Precisely.
If they do a U.S. concert, I want to go if it's close enough. Could
Um,
Anime Boston bring them in? That would be
uh,
phenomenal.
if they did a show in Boston, we should go to get or in somewhere in New England, we should go.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sharka says that they're looking forward to Demon Slayer season 3. Demon Slayer, I'm trying to catch up with. It's and by trying I mean it's on my watch list. We got 4 or 6 episodes in, and then it got backburnered to keeping up with current stuff and traveling and working and whatnot.
And we did make a reference of Demon Slayer, comparing it to Call of the Night in a roundabout way, where earlier in the show, you know, Darren and I were talking about how there's a character that we thought that Angela would really, really like. And then I realized she doesn't come in till episode 11. Making her sit through a show she can't enjoy because she doesn't like the storyline after 2 episodes, to wait for a character she might like till episode 11 is like being bored out of your mind watching Demon Slayer. But at episode 19, there's an epic fight that really makes a story go good. I sat through 6, and I'm not going to wait 19 episodes. I gave it 6 episodes where I normally would have given it 3. And I'm like, I just cannot get into this.
2 or 3 is normally my minimum.
The only show I ever gave a 1 episode and was like, nope, not for me, was Attack on Titan, because I knew it did not interest me in the slightest after the first episode.
And that's fair. That's one where the final season is at a point where I'm like, at this point, I feel like we're watching it to see it through to completion as opposed to.
They're trying to turn it into like Dragon Ball or something, or One Piece, and just
I would argue
bring it out to 4 million episodes.
it's basically turned. I liken it to Gurren Lagann. There's already been multiple points where it could have ended and it didn't, and then it just became more absurd.
Like, I didn't even. Anime, I saw a lot of cosplay, but I did not see a single Attack on Titan cosplayer.
And you usually see at least one of the main 3.
I saw Konosuba. I saw Megaman cosplay. A bunch of Genshin cosplays, which, like we talked about a little while ago, Genshin is really popular. The characters are adorable. It is getting an anime adaptation, We'll see what happens when that comes out. Will the anime adaptation of the video game be good, or will it suck? I'm hoping it'll be good because the characters are cute. The voice acting is really, really good.
Oh God, Ross and AJ, they're trying to find a specific anime for me, and they're trying to remember what it is.
Who here is a fan of reincarnation anime? There's a show Doug needs to read the plot of called No Slow Second Life.
Are they talking about Slow Life?
I'm guessing.
I think I started that one.
Is that going on right now, or? I'm scrolling through to see if I can find it. No Slow Life. I'm not seeing anywhere. Or is that a show that's coming up?
Kaiko Sereta Anako. Hold on. I think that might be a show. It's kind of Kaiko Sereta. Hold on. Might have been. Oh, yeah, it's one that's coming up. Kaiko Sereta Ankoko Heishi 30 Die No Slow Na Second Life. Okay. Encourage films.
Is that
Light
winter
novel.
or spring?
That's winter. Dark soldier Dariel, 30 years old, who can't use magic despite being in the Demon Lord's army, was fired for his lack of capacity. Having been raised by the previous Demon Lord himself, he finds that his adoptive brother, the new Demon Lord, has little use for him. However, after rescuing a village girl from a forest monster, Dariel is invited into her village and starts realizing that he may be more considerably powerful than what he thought. So it kind of sounds like the last dungeon boonies moved to a starter town. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Kind of has that feel.
Yeah. The whole you're stronger than what you realize, at least in terms of the standards of where you moved.
So, and in the
Sounds
chat,
like
they're talking about an anime called Gosick for Angela to check out.
I've heard of Gosick. It's a horror.
Which
might be up Angela's alley.
Which, depending on what breed of horror I'm fine with.
It aired in 2011. And you've probably seen the Doug, if you could pull it up real quick and then put it on the big screen, you've probably seen the character before.
I'm already looking. I already have it on my anime list up because I already had that tab open in you know, it's listed as historical, based on a light novel, Studio Bones.
The Studio Bones has got a good reputation.
Precisely.
I mean, look, it's got an 8 rating, so.
Which is why we're gonna do.
So for those of you who are interested, that is some of the imagery that I found.
Drama, mystery, romance, historical.
Oh, God damn it.
Language lady.
On my phone. Sorry. I logged in on my phone and now I don't remember my password.
I will say that I did go back this weekend and watch another one of my feel-good animes, partially because it's got a season 2 coming up, partially because I actually found like official Japanese merchandise for the show at Anime-Zing, and I was referring to Kuma Bear.
Kuma.
And what's even funnier is I started it like Friday night as I was going to bed, finished watching it Saturday morning, and my daughter came into the room and was watching it. And every time at the end where the bears would just go Kuma, my daughter would mimic it, which was really cute because she was trying to match the voice and everything. We
Oh,
will have an anime loving little one.
well,
She doesn't have a choice.
based on the description of Gosick and the fact that it's done by a studio, I know that will get added to the list when I actually find time to watch it. Is a different story.
Okay, sorry, Ross. I could have sworn it was a horror. So, my bad.
And Sharka also loves Gosick.
That was right around the time I was getting into anime, so
And it was
2011.
at a space when at a time period when I was not watching a lot of anime.
I think I was just getting back into anime in 2011, and it was whatever I could find on Netflix at the time, which was shows like Rosario Vampire, Girls Bravo, Strike Witches.
Speaking of which, I'm just curious, Doug. Who is your favorite character in Girls Bravo?
Girls Bravo is so ridiculous. I barely remember any of them, if I'm being honest. That was one of those one and done animes. Like I've seen it once, and
Okay.
it was weird, and I'm like, it's not very memorable outside of the main female character that had the 3 dots on her forehead, the shape of an upside down triangle.
Miharu,
But I could not pick a favorite girl.
Kyrie, hands down.
It would be easier for me to pick a favorite girl from Rosario, from To Love Ru, from Strike
Conception.
Witches. No. Yeah. You might have a favorite girl in Conception, but I don't.
No, the only good one was a childhood friend, and
Pretty
that was
much.
barely passable. Why is it? I'm sorry.
There we go.
The
Done.
childhood friends are always
That's what you
tend
go
to be
for.
my favorite. Yes, because they always lose.
You go for the childhood friends and you go for the bunny girls.
Hey, sometimes I go for the demon girls or the holy girls. I mean, let's see if I remember correctly. Zenobia was raised in the Catholic Church. Irina was raised in the Protestant Church.
And then you have me, the D-gen that likes the cat girls and the dragon girls.
I think you like the dragon girls more than the cat girls.
It's not my fault that they've made some really cute dragon chicks.
Oh my god.
Maybe
That's
if
something
we were
else we could get roasted on.
yeah, maybe
Yup.
if we were talking about husbandos, maybe she would be more interested.
No, then then we definitely need to make this 18 plus because I would probably scare everybody.
I mean, it's not like I'm pulling waifus from hentai out. At least not yet.
No. I
I
just
can't do that.
well, nope, we're just gonna
I was about to say, I was really curious to what you were going to say next.
if you really want to go down that rabbit hole, go
We
to
will do an 18
YouTube,
plus.
find the Smasher Trash, which was my first appearance, and some of the commentary from that gets rather entertaining.
I was a part of that, wasn't I?
Yes, you were.
I wonder what I missed.
I will I will partially agree to that, Ross, but I have found other Dragon Girls who I like better. Although she is quite the interesting character. Ross says, best Dragon Girl, in his opinion, watch Restaurant from Another World. I know exactly who you're talking about.
But
And watching season 2, I forgot she was a dragon.
And
But-
HH says, am I talking about Elfin Lied? I'm not familiar with that, so no.
you haven't seen Elfin Lied?
No.
Oh my goodness, that's a classic right there.
And Sharka says, reincarnated as a slime has some cool husbandos.
Yes, we know Diablo and Benny Maru are everybody's favorites.
And Rimuru, which Rimuru could probably classify either or being a slime.
And then we get...
And speaking of slime animes with multiple seasons, Killing Slime for 300 Years is getting a season 2 that's coming out in 23, I believe.
Are you sure?
I am very sure that Killing Slimes for 300 Years is getting a season 2.
Hold on.
For any video game fans out there, Nier is getting an anime in the winter. Which should be interesting.
Girlfriend's getting a season 2.
Didn't deserve one.
No.
That anime was ugh. I'd say Rent a Girlfriend had better standards, which is funny.
And hello to Haru, who wants some attention. Yes, it's your time to be the attention whore.
Is she purring?
Yes.
I'm about to say I can hear it.
Banished from the Heroes Party gets a second season. All done with your loves, Haru? You go play.
I don't see anything about Slime for 300 years getting a.
I know that
you're
it's
right.
out
You're right. You're right. Unknown date.
but that's that was a good one too. I did enjoy that. Actually, another very good romance anime that you never hear anybody talk about. The Saint's magic power is omnipotent. Is getting a season 2, coming out sometime in 2023.
Oh,
that was fantastic.
Ross, to answer your question, girlfriend, then Rent a Girlfriend, and Girlfriend is a Gal is actually the better of the three.
Which is worse. I would almost have to say Girlfriend is a Gal. It was absolutely terrible. I'm ashamed to say that I've watched that one. Girlfriend was at least somewhat humorous, but man, did the guy not have any balls after he made a bold move. And Rent a Girlfriend just kind of got meh. Season 1 was good. Season 2, I kind of lost interest in. But
Misfit at Demon Academy, yes. I will be watching that one next season, but it's gonna be interesting because they had to change they changed voice actors for the main character.
I started that, but did not get very far into it.
All right. From HH. Can we get a shout out to this being the longest that Darren has been awake during a stream in a year?
No, it hasn't.
No,
I don't think it has either, but
Darren has stayed
Maybe
awake for entire shows about 10 to 15 times this year.
that being said, I would not be surprised if this is the most recent that HH has been in the chat.
I was about to say the last show that he may have listened to, I might have fallen asleep, but not.
Because you stayed awake for, I believe, for the whole Sean Chiplock show.
Yeah, I did. It was last week's show. I fell off about 9:45, 9:50.
And it was fun talking with Kelly. We thank Kelly Baskin for joining us again last week. It was fun to chat with her, fun to see a new face coming up in the voice acting world. And it's been interesting. I know that we've been kind of on a Genshin kick with the voice actors lately. Outside of Christy Rothrock, we've had like 4 of them on with Kelly, Sean Chiplock, Griffin Burns, and Josie McCoy, which Josie McCoy still surprised me that he reached out to us after meeting him briefly at PuchiCon, which that was like amazing. And he was so much fun to talk with. Might have to reach out to him about coming on the show again because it was so much fun talking with him. So, general question for the chat. We have so many awesome people who are in here talking with us tonight. What show, if you had to pick one out of this current season that's going on, what would you say is your number one favorite show of winter or fall 2022? We're not in winter yet. Fall 2022. And I know there's going to be a lot of predictable choices.
Okay. On that note, I want to hear their favorite sequel and their favorite new show. That way, because it's kind of hard to.
By sequel, you mean season 2 or part 2? Or
Season 2, part 2, season 3, season 4, any sequel, any show that is a direct continuation of a previous incarnation, not counting spinoffs.
Because I'm looking at the list of shows I'm watching, and surprisingly, for once, I only have 2 shows I'm watching that are a part 2 or season 2.
One of them being Spy Family.
One of them being Spy Family, the other being Uzaki.
Uzaki, Spy Family, Mob Psycho.
Everything else, Love Flops, Beast Taber, Reincarnated as a Sword, Stronger from Farming, and Bochi the Rock are all firsts. Sharka says Choose Your Eternity Season 2.
And
okay, I've heard really good things about that one.
And Radiophile Princess and Raven of the Inner Palace.
Both ones that were a maybe on my list, I think.
Bibliophile Princess I looked at, and for me it was one of those I saw the potential for it to go too cutesy for my liking. Which is not to say bad, that's more of a it seemed like it could very quickly just turn into the not for me.
Another show that's kind of been flying under the radar but getting decent reviews is Do It Yourself.
I have been toying around with the idea of watching that, but I haven't taken the time to.
It's like a woodworking anime.
Digimon Ghost Game, I'm watching that too.
Yurima Season 3 and Spy Family.
I have been meaning to start Iruma.
I will say, Ross, Digimon Ghost game we fell behind with, and it's at a point where it's for me personally, it's at a point of it's turning too much. It's getting repetitive. It's still good,
Speaking of which,
but not my favorite.
long-running series. Congratulations to Ash Ketchum after
5 years.
25 years. He's finally a champion worth noticing.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
25 years and he's still 10 years old.
Yep. And on that note, I saw a meme floating around that made perfect sense. His friends were watching from the television, aside from Don. His mom was watching at home with Professor Oak. Team Rocket actually bought tickets and showed up to his match live. So, who? And they actually left him a congratulations note once he finally won. It said, "Congratulations, Brat and Pikachu." So, tell me again, who would have been the secret? I don't know. I've heard so many conspiracy theories regarding Pokemon and what Team Jesse James and Meowth's goal regarding Ash actually was. It's not even funny. But
I
I,
don't
I,
know.
I need to watch the anime because I stopped after Sun and Moon because they had such a good thing going in X and Y and they ruined it.
Hold it, hold it. Doesn't count. We haven't gotten that far in the English dub here in America, so it doesn't count.
Sorry, I forgot that was literally here in the past week. So it's Japanese. And if I remember correctly, English dubbing on Pokemon is 4 weeks behind on average from Japanese. So sorry, Ross.
But it should not be a spoiler because that's been posted everywhere on social
God,
media.
About to say,
Ross just made me feel old.
since you were 8 and 97, I didn't start watching Pokemon till the early 2000s.
I'm not even going to comment on that. I will say Uzaki-chan has been quite the surprise for me, and I kind of like the way that they brought the story here in the second season. It's not often that you'll see a show where the second season is better, in my opinion, than the first season. But this is one of those cases where, like, I almost gave up on the show because Uzaki was way too annoying in the first season. But I was stuck with it, watched it through. I was like, okay. And like you touched on earlier, Darren, the shopkeep and his daughter was hysterical. So knowing it was getting a second season, I was curious to see what mischief they would get into. I didn't quite expect them to push the subject matter that they are pushing this season, and I don't want to give anything away, no spoilers. But I kind of like the way that Uzaki is kind of getting things thrown at her that she obviously she's experiencing but doesn't want to admit it.
Of course, and same to him. And then I like the fact they're dragging her family into this.
I like the fact they brought her dad into this, and you can kind of see where Uzaki gets some of her quirks from.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of liking the little sister and the drama that she's bringing in.
And in the chat, since you guys are still going on about Uzaki, HA chat is the type of anime that really makes you hate your teenage self.
In, in what regard? Because I never experienced any of this stuff that they're going through.
Neither have I really.
I haven't watched it, so I couldn't tell you.
And Ross says married couple hasn't been as bad as people think. It has a Toradora vibe.
So you wouldn't put it up there with Love and Lies? I'll wait for that one.
And HH is saying the rumor is they begin to formally date by the end of the season. Sure, spoil it for everybody.
He said rumor.
Yeah. I could see it happening.
And Ross, to that note, I still haven't seen Toradora. There's something you can roast me on, because that's a staple in the anime community.
And Ross is asking, what's Love and Lies about?
Basically the same thing. Arranged marriage, but he loves another girl, and trying to break off the marriage, but the girl that he's with actually ends up falling for him, kind of deal. Yeah, it's a very similar story per se. I would recommend watching it. It's not as good in my opinion as this one has been. But of course, also Love and Lies aired the same time Domestic Girlfriend did, and that was one of my favorites because Rui is best girl. Nisekoi. Not quite. Not quite, Ross. But Nisekoi, great series. It literally started a whole Twitter war with the waifus on that one. Hashtag Team Onodera. Hashtag Team Chitoge. Hashtag Team who was the other one?
So like freaking Twilight.
This was the start of the anime waifu wars. This is what kickstarted a lot of the anime waifu wars.
Like how Twilight, the big thing was Team Edward or Team Jacob, and I'm just like, but why?
Ross, Nisekoi had a second season.
There are a lot of shows out there that are getting second seasons that probably don't deserve them. Much like Girlfriend, just to name one.
Not gonna lie, Fruit of Evolution doesn't exactly deserve it. Entertaining, but doesn't deserve a second season.
No, but we get more Saria, so that's gonna be hysterical to roast.
I mean, who doesn't love a gorilla that becomes a waifu?
What? No.
That's literally what happened.
Oh, don't forget, there's a horse that becomes a waifu too.
Yes. And there's actually several other animals.
That's why there's a season 2. They got to bring in the rest of the barn.
No.
Yeah.
No.
The rest of the zoo.
Yeah. I'll roast you two for this.
We talked about this one already.
Yes, and I roasted you then, I think.
I watched it merely for the fact that it was entertaining. Absolutely stupid, but entertaining. Trust me, after the first episode, my wife and I looked at each other like, what the hell did we just watch?
And why was it actually not the worst thing we've ever seen?
And HH says, if Fruit of Evolution followed the canon more, it wouldn't be so weird.
Okay. So in other words, if it followed the manga.
And Ross says, seriously, Donkey Girl and Gorilla Girl are hot.
Oh my god, just no.
And he follows up with, I want the dog-eared girl as well.
To be fair, he's not wrong.
Oh my God.
Although to be fair, like the donkey girl is better than like Centaria and Monster Musume because she
Agreed.
actually turns into a full female and not half female, half horse.
And speaking of Monster Musume, Zombina and Rachne were my two favorites.
I did like Poppy the Harpy. She was a fun character, and hats off to Brittany Karbowski, who had to have had a lot of challenging when her character was first introduced, because she had to say a line really fast introducing herself, but screwing up on purpose.
I'm
And
Poppy, the happy harpy.
that was the final way of it being said, but there was a lot of lines that were mixed in there pre I'm Poppy the Happy Harpy. So, kudos to Brittany on nailing that. I don't know how many takes it took. I don't know if we ever really asked her that or not. But and Ross says I can't remember. Someone helped. Was the girl who did art? Was she a dog girl or bunny girl?
I think she was a human.
No, she was an animal. She
Oh,
was
she
an animal
was.
girl. I know the art girl that they're referring to.
I do too. I thought she was a human.
I want
I
to say
don't
she
know.
was dog girl. I know Ange wouldn't know because she wouldn't watch this one.
No.
This would not be up your alley.
Nope.
Although this would be a show I would say just watch the first episode for the sheer stupidity of it,
Mm.
and then don't watch any of the rest of it. That way you can at least be like, okay, I understand the stupidity you're talking about and why does this
I
get
don't even need to watch it at this point. Between you two and the chat,
We're just making you lose faith in humanity and us even more by even talking about it.
my faith in humanity varies by the day. And as for you guys, well, interesting.
Oh,
As for us, we're just the degens that she tries to corral from time to time.
pretty much.
We can at least admit that much.
Oh, by the way, so scrolling down in next season's winter list, there's a Spy Family-ish sounding anime that I was avoiding because I didn't realize what it was because I thought it was something else.
What?
Buddy Daddies. A story about two killers who start raising a girl they picked up on a job.
There's no synopsis listed here.
Yeah, on my anime list, there's no synopsis showing.
One of the pages I'm looking at has a synopsis, and it's PA work, so that
Huh.
enough right there would be interesting. But the rough translation is two killers who work together pick up this girl on a job and now start raising her as their own kid, kind of like Spy Family. You got a spy and an assassin and an orphan, and they decide to raise the orphan per se.
And that one just gets funny because of who knows, because not everybody knows what everybody else is hiding.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny knowing that we all have such different tastes in anime. the fact that a show like Spy Family we all just fell in love with is like, this show is amazing. And it could be three completely different reasons that we all enjoy the show. But the show itself, that it is, there's a reason that you see art everywhere. Knowing we were going to be talking about Spy Family, that's kind of why I used it as the thumbnail for the video tonight.
Yep. Because, and you know what's funny? Spy Family is big here. There's a ton of merch, I saw Spy Family merch today. But I will say that is something I did not see a lot of overseas.
HH, just saying, that's literally the description I read. So I don't know how else to phrase it.
And Ross says Kanya the Great Sea is going to be really good in January.
January just looks to be a whole lot of potential for me.
And for me, there's very little.
For me, I see I might have 5.
5. I got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I've got exactly 2 definites.
At least 10 definites for me.
I've got 1, 2, maybe a third if I catch up on season 4, or if I catch up on season 3 of Girls in a Dungeon.
Did anybody watch
maybe
Inspector?
Fruit of Evolution.
Anybody watch what?
Inspector?
No.
Okay.
Let's see. Just looking at this list, out of the top 6 listed, none of them are new.
Nope, they're all sequels.
And only one's on my list.
4 of them are on mine.
Yeah, I got 2 definites.
I got 2 definites and 3 possibles.
I feel so left out over here having so many definites.
But this is me we're talking about, and as the season goes on, something might catch my eye that I might be like, oh, let's check this out. Knowing the type of person I am, I might check out that Farming Life in Another World just because it might be interesting. And I'm watching, maxed out my farming skills and became stronger.
Oh no, I'm sorry. 3 definites.
What's the third?
Way of the House Husband.
Oh.
I might watch Fruit of Evolution Season 2 just for the S&Gs of it.
But for me, it's Bofuri, Trigun, and Way of the House Husband with a couple of maybes in there as well.
And like I said earlier, my definites are By the Grace of the Gods Season 2 and Bofuri. I have multiple people telling me I need to watch Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro.
Please.
So if I do watch that, I may watch Season 2. But
if I do go back and watch Vinland Saga Season 1, I'll probably, and I enjoy it, I'll go to Season 2, but...
Please do yourself a favor. That is one that you will not regret. Trust me.
Nagatoro?
No, that one for you definitely, but for Ange, definitely Vinland Saga, because that was all around one of the best shows I've ever watched. Period. In terms of quality, it's in content, it's one of the best shows I've watched. Period.
Better than DXD?
Quality wise, for what it's worth, yeah. Entertainment and favoritism, hell no.
See, just because something is a favorite does not mean it is good quality.
Yes. DXD is good quality. Vinland Saga is great quality.
Like, I'm I would
That
argue
Steins Gate is dang near perfection.
one of the best anime I've seen recently being relative, is Erased.
I would contest that just because of how it ended. But other than that, I can agree with you that it was really good.
That is not my favorite. It's one of the best quality-wise that I've seen recently.
And like I said, I can definitely agree to that one.
One of my
Minus the ending.
fair. But no, I mean, Sword Art Online is one of my favorites, minus one story arc. I'm aware that it's definitely not the best thing out there.
But on that note, it is 10 o'clock. We have to call it a night. But once again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It has been so much fun chatting with everybody out here in the chat room. If you're listening to us after the fact, come on over on Sunday nights to YouTube. Check us out when we have the live shows. Interact with us. I want to know who out there is listening. We broadcast live.
Or comment on or post to us on Facebook. Let us know what you're watching. Give us recommendations.
We love the interaction. Big thank you, like I said, to everybody out there who's watching this live. If you're listening to us after the fact, thank you so much for supporting us. You know, we've been having so much fun in 2022. The year's almost over. I'm working hard to try to bring in a couple more guests before the end of the year. And, you know, again, here in the US, I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe out there. If you're traveling, be smart. Don't drink and drive. Be respectful. This is going to be, you know, Black Friday is a stressful time for everybody. So please be courteous if you can. Shop online. You can get just as good of deals online, and you don't have to worry about getting run over by a shopping cart.
And if you can,
But that's half the thrill, Doug.
if you can support local small businesses as opposed to just ordering everything off Amazon.
Like, if you're looking for quality anime merch, check out homecirclemedia.com, one of our proud sponsors. If you have ideas on hard to find artwork, reach out to Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX.
If you're looking to get your yard done,
reach out to Darren.
He will travel for the right fee.
yes, give me $5,000. I'll come up to New York.
The crazy thing is, if somebody like New York City area who has the money is interested, I wouldn't put it past them.
But if they had that kind of money in New York City, they wouldn't have a lawn.
No, if they had that kind of money in New York City, they would have a lawn.
Debatable.
They might be on the outskirts of New York City, but you know.
But on that lovely note,
have a wonderful night, everybody. Until 2 weeks, because we're not doing a show next week. So until December 4th, when we return, have a safe Thanksgiving. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and supporting us for all these years. Until then, this has been Anime-Zing Radio right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.
Good night, everybody.
Oyasu